Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 377, Qwen in doubt, let Zia sort it out. Recorded for Friday, October 17th, 2025 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Tyler Colt.
And I'm Greg Belnap, and let's get right on into the show.
Let us do it. Yeah, Greg, that stare you were doing right into the camera there almost threw me off my game. It was very intense. To start the show. Very happy, but very intense. So yeah, recording a little earlier today than we normally do. So please forgive us for a bit of the sleep rolling off as we get started here.
But also another banger of a title for this week's show. That's a really good one. So
yeah, Freddie is performing.
Yeah. So, I think it sounds to me like I was in the right to just like suddenly stop giving the titles without
I guess
any kind of warning. That's the courteous and professional way to do that, right? Just sort of,
I think
just sort of ghost your responsibilities at work.
Yep. I love it. So before we do jump into the news, we've got a handful of stories, but I do want to quickly put it out there. We are doing a bit of a hiring push over here at Zenatta. So if you are a Zoho expert, we're looking for great developers and consultants to join the team. Great place to work, fully remote, full benefits. So head on over to careers.zenatta.com if that sounds of interest to you. We'd love to chat and see if it might be a fit. So yeah, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your cousin. Don't tell your baby. They probably can't write deluge code very well, but if they can, well, it'd be child labor. You can't do that, huh? Even if they were a good coder.
Yeah.
It's frowned upon.
Yeah. Even if they can, of course, now my Black Mirror movie pitch is going off where it's like, oh, somehow for whatever reason, babies are the best at interacting with the AI models. Somehow they can get AI models to work perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah, they exist as kind of the transference component between the rest of us and AI.
Yeah.
Kojima is going to sue us for that one. All right. With that, let us jump right on into the news. All right, so first news story here comes from the world of CRM, specifically CRM for everyone. Honestly, kind of a minor update in the scope of things, but it's major to me, so we included it. This is in respect to the setup homepage. So those who have moved over to CRM for everyone, the tab on the screen now probably looks pretty similar, where you've got this big long list of every different type of setting and subsetting that exists. And then on the right, you can see the one that you've selected. Back in the old days, 6 months ago, the settings tab used to look like this, where you click in and you kind of see everything all at once and can then just go into whatever submenu you need. They basically just brought that back for CRM for everyone, where it was initially phased out. So first, shout out to Zoho on this. They got a lot of feedback and they're like, yep, you can have it. Here it is. Just we're not going to push back at all, and just brought it right back in. And makes my life easier as someone who has clicked on settings and workflow rules about 10,000 times. I can now go back to doing that without having to scroll or search. So pretty minor, really just a UI thing. I will also highlight one little sneaky one here, that inside of that left-hand menu, if you do like that, you can actually have this list of frequently used settings. This isn't set by you, it is set by Zoho based on the 5 ones that have been most frequently or recently accessed. That kind of would solve my problem of clicking on settings and then workflows over and over again. But pretty nice. I mean, if you've got things that you're working on, that should kind of, let you get there quicker. And then here, they also have now the ability to have these little submenus persist if you open or close them. This is actually, again, these things seem minor, but when you're the person configuring or working in settings menus all the times, they're really nice, because there might be 3 of these sections that you interact with all the time and then 15 that you don't. And so just collapsing the 15 that you don't means that they're not making that list super long, despite the fact that you're not actually going to go into them very often. So I really like this. Again, nothing too major, nothing that changes any functionality. But selfishly, as someone who spends a lot of time in CRM settings menus, I'm really happy to see this. Makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah, agreed. I particularly like the yeah, the frequently used ones. That'd be helpful for. Gosh, the one that always just gets away from me somehow is templates. I don't know why. I feel like I should know instinctively where the templates are in the CRM settings, but I
Yeah.
always have to hunt a little bit extra for those, even though they're in the same section they always are. It would be nice that if that was just at the top of a list somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like they're kind of it's very reminiscent to me of the Zoho Books settings interface.
Yep. Yeah.
Where once you start out with that big, overall map screen, and then once you start clicking into one of them, you've got that sort of bar on the side that you can hop around between stuff if you want. So,
Yep.
Nice, cozy little adjustments there, and good on them for not being scared to go back to a slightly a more classic. We're in a new classic Coke situation, I think.
Got it. Except now there's both on the market, right? It's like, no, it's more like Diet Coke and Coke Zero, right? They tried to change Diet Coke. People liked them both. So take both. Have whichever one you like. So I like that. We'll do a case study on it. Next one up here, monthly social wall. This one is for September. This is, of course, Zoho Social's monthly roll-up of kind of all the updates and features that have been added. Again, I always mention, I like that they do this, even on a month like this where it's pretty minor. So approvals getting rolled out in iOS and a product overview webinar coming up on Thursday, or every Thursday for a recurring product webinar. So yeah, September was light. But again, we like to mention this one just as a monthly reminder that if you're using Zoho Social, this is a good place. Just get all those updates. We always try to cover everything on the show and obviously on the newsletter. But I like to shout out Zoho when they do stuff like this because honestly, I think all of their apps should probably have a monthly roll up. And they've been doing them more and more, right? They've been doing the quarterlies. They've been doing the monthlies. I do appreciate that they're doing that. But I've just liked the social wall for a while, so we always like to mention that it does, in fact, still exist if you'd like to check it out. The other app that did a really good one for a while, and then they kind of stopped doing it, was Zoho People. This was before your time on the show, Greg, and we don't work with people a lot, but they had, I forget what they called it, but it was this really nice page. It was like a running list of all the news, and they'd have like featured speakers come in and out of it, and it was a really nice little thing they were doing for a while that I think they kind of phased out of doing.
Was this at like, it was like an HR, it said like, wasn't it called like the HR community digest or something like that?
Something like that.
Or am I thinking of something totally different?
Yeah, it had some cool name. But anyways, it was a monthly thing. They'd update it regularly, and especially for people where there's so many features, functionalities, and tools, it's hard to keep track of. But yeah, so shout out to the social team. We always appreciate them for rolling these out, even when they are pretty minor. Next one up here is a bit of a deeper dive into something we talked about last week inside of Zoho Desk. So essentially, we're talking about contextual responses and article generation using LLM tools. Bit of a definitely a correction from last week that a couple people pointed out in the comments. So Zoho had mentioned when they first rolled out the LLM tools, this was maybe 2 months back when they put all the press releases and everything, like, hey, we got these 3 models. We've trained them on all these parameters. They're our homegrown models. Maybe not quite so much. So I mentioned Qwen last week, and I was like, oh, that's a cool rebrand for Zia LLM. And a couple of comments correctly pointed out, no. Qwen is Alibaba's open source model, right? Similar to how Meta put out Llama, made it open source. Qwen is essentially an open source model for the Alibaba product. So the Zia models here seem to be built on top of other open sources. So their Llama 3.1 model is 8 billion parameters. The Qwen model is 32 billion parameters. Again, different parameter sizes aren't always inherently better or worse. It depends on what they were trained on and what you're using them for. But essentially what this is going to do is enable article generation for tickets. So if you've had a ticket that you're working through and you've written a bunch of content and back and forth, you can now much more easily convert that into an article. Do keep in mind, if you want an LLM tool to be able to answer a ticket later, there has to be some type of article that's going to tell it how to do that. It's not just going to make stuff up. So make sure that you are generating articles. And as you're doing that, it's going to improve the ability to generate that context and actually answer questions in the future.
Yeah, and I like that. Let's see, I'm seeing it looks like that when you are generating the articles from your tickets, you can select 1 to 10 conversations, which just a little bit of a understanding the language in Zoho Desk. A conversation is either a email or message incoming thread, public and private comments. So when it says that it will it'll generate articles based on 1 to 10 conversations, you might think in your head, oh, does that mean that I could select 10 different tickets and then say, across these 10 tickets, generally formulate a help article? Well, I think that would be really cool. That's not what this is talking about. A conversation is one instance of a communication inside of a ticket that might be an email or a comment between agents or an instant message, something like that.
Yeah. So good call out there. You're mostly going to be doing this within one ticket at a time. But yeah, really nice. Again, I think like for a lot of people using Desk, we probably see like 50-50 amongst our clients of people that really heavily use and populate the knowledge base versus those that don't. I expect that to get more to like 80-20 of people populating it because 1, it's become a lot easier. And 2, it's become more useful, right? Where before it was like, hey, maybe your agent will use it. Maybe the customer will use it. Now it's like, hey, if you want most of the AI tools to work, you need to start populating that thing. So I expect that tools like this really enable that to happen much more easily. All right, next one up here is the upcoming release projection for Zoho Creator. So Zoho Creator is one of those rare applications inside of Zoho that does have a roadmap. Most of them don't actually really have like a publicly tracked roadmap. They do. So here, basically what they're doing is showing a quick glimpse of what is upcoming. So Zia tasks and Deluge, Zoho LLM for code generation, UI components, a theme builder, mobile UI, and more. So definitely check out this article as well as the roadmap in full if you are a creator house, because it's a good way to know what's coming down the line. You know, the value of a roadmap here is you might be thinking, hey, I'm going to write some type of function that's going to send data over to ChatGPT and it's going to summarize it and send it back. You might check the roadmap and go, oh, next month, I'm going to just be able to do that with Zia, right? And so it can actually save you that time and effort and cost of doing things in different ways. So we do recommend keeping on top of these when they're available, as it does really help you out in the long run.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see which ones do I particularly like in here. I do really like the environment variables for Deluge. Always a fan of if there's something that you have to use over and over and over and over and over again. Nice to be able to store it in one place, which I guess technically you probably could do just by creating a standalone function where just the whole point of the function is just return just one variable value. So you could do that, but it would be nice if there was just a dedicated area.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, a minor one for me, or two minor ones. Obviously, LLM AI stuff, always cool, always trendy. You know, it's got the sex appeal going. A data bridge for on-premise data to creator, I could see a lot of use case for that. The data bridge inside of Zoho Analytics works well, and we do actually use that all the time to get like on-premise non-REST API data into Zoho. And then SMTP and email management. It sounds minor, but if you do send a lot of transactional emails from creator and you're having any kind of deliverability issues, being able to set up a custom SMTP could resolve that for you. And so, yeah, it's not the sexy AI stuff, but it is really useful if it increases your deliverability, right? Because it doesn't matter if you send an email, it matters if it lands in their inbox. That is the outcome that you need. So yeah, take a look at this and also the full roadmap if you are a creator user, as it is very useful. You'll basically be able to see projected release dates, if they're working on it or not, and keep an eye on when these things are going to be hitting your account, as they could be very useful for you. Next one up here, Zoho Sign product updates. Man, we've been talking about Sign a lot. It feels like one of Zoho's kind of targets for AI tools. We love Sign, recommend it to lots of people as it saves a lot of money versus most of its competitors. Couple updates for Q3, kind of a roll up, so I'll go through it quickly. WhatsApp integration for sending documents, being able to annotate documents. We've talked about this one a little bit, but really nice for like that kind of going back and forth section. Document commenting, delegated signing, agreement management via AI. So again, we've talked about all of these on the show, but do check this article because it does kind of queue up some of what's to be expected in Q4 and onward. So do keep an eye on this one. Interested to see in Q4 the integration with Zoho projects. That is actually something that occurs, especially for larger projects. Like, hey, milestone 1 is completed. We're going to send a summary of milestone 1. The client is going to sign off on it, right? Like that's not a super rare process that exists, especially like large construction projects, like someone spending 10 mil to get this thing built. Like, yeah, you want them to sign off that the first $1 million of work is done and they accept, right? Like, yeah, really important, really, really important. So I could actually see that being really cool. They also have video signing, which is interesting. In the world of AI video generation.
Is that signing a video or is that signing with a video?
Yeah, I wonder, because signing with a video seems almost less secure because you can fake video so easily now, right? I mean, anyways, that'll be interesting to see. That will be interesting to see. So good suite of updates here from last quarter. We thought we'd just mention this one to queue up the next round of things that are coming down the pipeline.
Always make sure with everything, have a lawyer check your AI generated contracts and legal documents. That's our PSA that we got to say every time. Just like the don't try this at home kids on, Bill Nye or whatever.
Yep. It is our contractually obligated disclaimer. Get these things checked by a lawyer who knows your specific situation. Next one up here, onboard new users easily with native screen recording in Zoho Projects Plus. So Zoho Projects Plus, what the heck is that? We haven't talked about it in a while. This is a bundle that includes Zoho Projects, Zoho Sprints, Zoho Analytics, and then lastly, WorkDrive. And what they've done here is basically include WorkDrive Snap, which is WorkDrive's little screen recording and annotation tool, inside of Zoho Project Plus. Now, I am interested in this one. Is this more of them making sure it exists, or was this not featured there?
So.
I would have to assume this feature's been there if it already included WorkDrive Enterprise.
I think the giveaway is if you scroll up to the top to see the little breadcrumbs for this article, this is just in the Zoho Projects Plus Community Learning Series.
Got it.
So I think this is just hey, by the way, if you're a Zoho Projects Plus user, which really this doesn't just apply to Zoho Projects Plus users.
Yeah.
It really just applies to anyone of like, hey, you want to make onboarding new people easier? Guess what? WorkDrive lets you do screen recordings, which is very nice.
Yeah, very cool. It is actually really good. We've like played around with WorkDrive Snap a bit, and it is a good screen recording tool. We mostly still use Loom because of some of the AI summary and transcription features that we really like. Like some of our team has some really clever workflows that they use where like when one of our developers will run whenever they finish a look behind the curtain at Zenatta, whenever one of our developers finishes a task, they record a quick video going through what they did, how it works. I know a lot of them will take the transcript of that and then feed it through a GPT to clean up and format it into a written version. So you can kind of deliver a video and a written through walkthrough. I remember the first time I started seeing some of our developers do that, and it was like, wow, that's really great. It looks awesome. So for us, not quite there just because of that transcription tool. But like, honestly, for a lot of people, it's well worth taking a look at because Loom keeps getting more and more expensive. They've been sneaking it up a little bit. And like, Atlassian bought them, people who made Jira, and you don't buy something because you want to make less money with it. You generally buy something because you want to make more money with it. So I would expect that trend to continue. And WorkDrive Snap might eventually be how we start doing this stuff, because all it really needs is live transcription, and it's pretty much exactly what Loom does. So really cool overall, and well worth using if you got WorkDrive, whether or not you're on Projects Plus. All right, so with that, I think ready to jump over to club.zenatta.com and check out our code share of the week. All right, this one comes from Wayne, our director of marketing. So this is about passing UTMs through an HTML Zoho form embed. So high level, when you have a Zoho form, you can embed it on a site in multiple different ways. You can just do good old-fashioned iframe. You can do a JavaScript embed. That kind of makes the size of the form more dynamic. Or you can do an HTML embed, which my understanding is basically the benefit of an HTML one is if you wanted to go in and change the theme anymore in a way that maybe wasn't supported in the native theme builder, it's like, hey, you can do whatever you want, man. Like, it's just HTML and CSS at that point.
Yep.
But there is a bit of funk, right, in getting those UTM parameters into the form when it's embedded with HTML. Am I kind of getting that correctly?
Yeah, exactly. So what Wayne goes through here is, now this is under the assumption that in your form, you have created, a half dozen fields that you're hiding on your form for things like the UTM source, meeting campaign, gclip, all that kind of stuff. Other than, I believe there are, I'm not sure if he's created custom fields there, or if those are system fields for things like the ZF refer name or ZF redirect URL. Are those system fields in there that get put in the settings, or just
no,
Wayne is probably so. He's just really good at making system field sounding names.
Yeah, I think so.
Been around him enough. And then below that you have your regular visible form fields, right? The things that your customers are actually going to fill out, like their name, phone, email, whatever. Then the true magic is down on that JavaScript section at the bottom half of this, where you basically crawl through all of the HTML on your loaded page that the client is on, and you grab those things for each of the URL parameters in your for each of the hidden fields in your form, right? So UTM source, UTM campaign, etc. For each of those, you're going to go through and take it from the actual page and then inject it into that form field. And then finally, he's got an optional section there for capturing a referrer as well.
Got it. Looks like he probably used GPT to help him with this, because there's an emoji in the script. That's a bit of a calling card, if you will. But yeah, really nice. This is one of those things that is tricky to do, and the native tracker code doesn't always work with HTML. So well worth kind of pocketing this one for later in case it might be useful for you. Because really, all you really have to do here would be swap out these hidden field names with the ones that you have. Again, make sure everything matches your redirect parameters that are actually in the URL. And then you need to update this piece down here just to make sure that each of these, again, matches what's above and matches what's in the form. But overall, other than swapping those out, it should be pretty robust, right? That you could plug and play this thing without much issue.
Absolutely. And then, of course, replace your form URL, unless you already mentioned that.
At the very top. Yep. Good call. Yeah, here up at the top here. Very, very nice. As always, if you'd like to check out this code share and more, just head on over to club.zenatta.com. That's where all of these live, as well as all the news, the general discussion, the things we noticed, or people mention things that, like Nick here from a little bit ago actually mentioned something I didn't see, which is the credit card checkout page on a Zoho Books invoice looks way better now. It used to look really, really plain. One thing I am going to need to take a look at is it now seems to require billing address, which it used to not require. So we'll take a look at that. But again, these are the types of things that exist over here on Club Zenatta. Totally free community. Just requires your email so we can make sure you're a real person before you join. But otherwise, head on over there and check out all the free content if that is sounding useful to you. All right, next up here, let's head on over to Zenatta.com and check out what's new over there. You know, I'm doing this show for so long, Greg, but that transition, I never know how to say it. Let's head over to the website and check out what's new on Zenatta. That sounds better, right? Rather than let's head over.
And I think that's what Brett would normally say.
Yeah, but I'm an innovator, so I want to change things whether or not they need to be changed.
Like you do belong in Silicon Valley.
No, I don't. Oh God, could you imagine? No, my early career was in the world of money-losing fundraising companies, and it does not work for me. It really doesn't. They're having a deadline where your company is bankrupt, no matter what. Just like I could never.
Great.
Yeah, that world doesn't work for me. I like good cash flows and healthy cash cycles. That's what makes me happy. So over here on the case study page, this is a new one from Cano Liquor Licenses. Really cool business. Essentially, they're a brokerage firm for liquor licenses. So those who might not know, cities, counties, etc., can issue limited numbers of liquor licenses. Obviously, a liquor license is valuable as it allows a business to generate cash flows from the sale of alcoholic beverages. So they essentially live in the world of buying and selling those. This was a project where they were moving over from Salesforce to Zoho. They're kind of in that boat that a lot of people are in, where it's like, okay, I'm not like furious with my Salesforce installation, but I'm not doing anything that crazy, and I feel like I'm overpaying, right? It's like they need a deal pipeline to buy a license, a database of the licenses, and a deal pipeline to sell a license. You know, like you don't really need to pay for Salesforce to do that. So we helped them move over, created some custom modules to kind of allow them to, from a license, create a deal. Allows them to link up buyers, sellers, and those licenses. Allows them to do all their document generation, and actually did some integrations for state databases. I think maybe via an export-import type of flow. And then some of the marketing implementation. So yeah, Louis Cano himself, the man, the myth, the legend, gave us a bit of a quote here at the bottom. So yeah, he was very happy with the build, saved them lots of money, got their marketing spun up, and they've been using this one for a little while. It's kind of in our old case studies that got lost in the mix. If the viewers have noticed, we've been really pumping these out. Like we had a bit of a backlog that we didn't know we had due to just some missed data in our survey tool. So keep on the lookout for these. This case study and all others over on Zenatta.com/case studies. Good place to start if you're thinking about a Zoho implementation. Might as well see if somebody has done something similar to what you're looking for. So head on over there and check those out along with the rest of the content on the website.
Tyler, the case study didn't get missed or anything like that. It had to age in the cellar for a little bit.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Very, very nice. That is Barrel Reserve. Yeah, it was good cultural reference, Greg, for someone who doesn't drink, but you get the culture. So well played. Well
I respect
played.
Everyone's culture.
All righty. With that, let's head on over to youtube.com/Zenatta and check out our tips of the week. All right, so these two are from Pre-Haircut Me, just running through a couple of the bigger updates from last week. One of them is this SalesIQ AI filtering and routing tool. Again, I know that AI is all the rage and, you see it popping up in everything. We're trying to do a bit of extra emphasis on the ones that we think are really useful, because sometimes I see something that comes out and it's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but like, when would you use that? And then there's sometimes features like this where it's like, oh, this solves a problem, right? Like routing people with unstructured text input is really hard with Deluge, where something like this actually does solve a big problem and allows you to route those users based on that looser language, again, using the sentiment, intent, and topic. So make sure to check that one out. And then we also did a bit of a deeper dive here on the Zoho desk. Was this quarterly? Yeah, quarterly roll up from last quarter. Again, watching us on YouTube, you can see the scroll bar over here, that tiny little thing there. This was a really, really long article. We spent a lot of time on like the more AI features that I think are going to be great and useful. And then we did do a quick run through of everything else. There were some things in this, Greg, that you and I didn't really touch on the podcast just because this was so long, that were actually awesome features. So like one of them was, you got your help center, right? Everybody knows that's great. It's mostly client facing, but for an employee, there wasn't really a help center for them, right? Like you could go into the knowledge base, but then you're really going into like the admin of the knowledge base when you go there inside of desk. So Zoho just was like, yeah, you know what? Like you've got all this info. Why don't we show it to the employees as well? So they made kind of a little side tab, seeing if I can find it. Yeah, there you go. It made this little side tab that you can pop out that just has all that knowledge base info. It's like, yeah, that totally makes sense. It's a good idea. Hey. They also added a training module. So if you did have, really clever, if you did have all of that knowledge base information, all your company policies, your refund policy, a lot of the common types of issues you might be helping clients with, you might go, hey, why don't I just use that to train my agent? And it's like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should do that. So they basically tied together Trainer Central and Zoho Desk to roll out this like training platform that you can use inside of Desk that gives feedback, input, courses, all that good stuff. So again, clever. It's like the minute it's not something I would have thought to ask for, but the minute I saw it on here, it's like, yeah, that makes quite a lot of sense, doesn't it? So really good updates here across the board for Desk. I do recommend, if you're a Desk user, checking out this video and or that article just to get all of it. Because even in this video, some of them I do go through relatively quickly. Another one, tons of accessibility settings for the Help Center. Again, we think about accessibility settings a lot, and Zoho's been doing a lot more features for them, but especially for the Help Center, you think about it, the point of the Help Center is that a customer can go there and not have to submit a ticket, right? Our interests are aligned. They want the problem solved. You don't want to get tickets, right? That's a win-win. So if you make it easier for them to use, more likely that they're going to do it. So really cool. You might as well enable that for your account. And again, there's a lot more here to check out. So I do recommend checking out that video and the full article.
Amazing that even with a dedicated tip video to that whole article, there was still some stuff that you had to kind of gloss over a little bit because it's just so...
go kind of quickly. Yeah.
Such a long article.
Yeah, it's a big one. Very, very big one. We did break it out into sections here. I think it's Freddie that's been doing this for some of these longer ones of really carving them out. So you can see there's a lot of sections.
A lot of chapters.
A lot of chapters on this. So again, check that out over on youtube.com/Zenatta if that is interesting to you. I've now also permanently muted this little Who is Zenatta stinger that always rolls when I go to this page. So it will hopefully stop shouting at us. But this is where all the videos live, the podcasts, the tips, the news, the webinars, Greg's old deluge tutorials, they're still out here. So we always do recommend checking this out. Freddie's running the Angel because we made it to 29,000 subscribers. It feels like it wasn't long ago that it was 28. So we really do appreciate all the support over here on YouTube. Our goal is to make more free and useful content about Zoho than anybody else, including Zoho. So head on over to Zenatta.com. We appreciate a like and subscribe. It's free, costs you nothing, and it makes me happy. So consider it if you're feeling
Make Tyler
generous.
Happy. Why aren't you making Tyler happy when you could?
The world should orient around making me happy, right? That's how it should work. So head on over there. It's where all the good stuff is. And as always, we appreciate it. Greg, we've done it. Made it through another week of the CRM Zen Show. I will highlight for the listeners who made it this far, there was a lot of news. So good week to go check out the newsletter. You can subscribe at Zenatta.com/newsletter or over on Club Z and the website where we post all of this, because there were quite a few that got filtered this week just because it was pretty busy. Seems like Zoho is through the dark times of their data center migration. Mostly, we're still seeing the sign-out issues occurring in the US. That's a little frustrating. Being maybe an understatement. It's very annoying. But yeah, good time to check out the newsletter to get everything, because there were some ones that didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah, another good one. And as far as Hinge levels, I think pretty good. I think we've hit the Hinge equilibrium. I think is nice and pretty.
Wow. Yeah, I'll think about that word later and see if I liked that or didn't like that. With that, I think ready to wrap up here for the week. So as always, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with us over here at Zenatta, just head on over to zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. While you're over there, you can check out full episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today.
And if you want clean code for free, go to Club Z. Head to club.zenatta.com and join our online community today. And if you want your team trained up in the core Zoho apps in less than 7 days, head over to zenatta.com/training today.
And as always, we appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We will see you next Friday.
The CRM Zen Show was produced by Podcaster Zen.
Now that's a transition you're never going to get wrong. Podcast app.
Podcast app. That was a good one this week.
It was a good one.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Plosive galore.